Hey, I got my first strike on Facebook.
Just
For
now?
posting something?
Well, I tried to send a private, it was a private message even. And it wasn't even that bad. It was actually
Wait.
some research, seriously.
In a private message?
In a private message I was sending to my wife. Basically, I wanted the document. So I found a document. I wanted it on my phone. So I was going to send it off my computer to her so I could just get it on my phone, right? Off of Facebook. And I hit send, and Facebook went, bloop, blocked. If you think this should go through, you can fill out blah, 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 ding, ding. So the interesting thing was, and it really wasn't that bad of an article. It was pretty. Anyway, point being is, all the title had on it was Role of Women.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Rhonda's actually on. So Rhonda gets knocked off Facebook all the time because at one point she was an admin on a particular meme page on Facebook. That guy, Maddie, whoever, who did the storming Area 51 event like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
We ended up kind of befriending this guy, and Rhonda ended up as an admin on his meme page because she's just got killer memes. And he's on watch from the government because of this event. And he had a couple other admins who were pretty crazy too. And so Rhonda was put on the FBI watch list. And so Facebook, she could post the most like bland thing and they'll be like, nope, slap it down. And she'll get like knocked off Facebook for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You see, crazy is a strong word. We should use like words like eccentric.
Oh, yes, quite eccentric.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I am glad that you guys are watching us today, and we have some great conversation coming up, and I want to introduce the person that we are having as our guest today, none other. He really needs no introduction. Known around the world, the king,
Right.
the king of his castle,
King of this castle.
My castle. Yeah, that's right.
Thomas King.
I love you,
Good to be here.
Tom.
Yep.
You're my
You don't know his
favorite.
middle name.
What is your middle name?
David.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's my middle name.
I was after two people in the Bible. Not because I doubted. Well, actually, three people. From the king.
He keeps going down. He's like, wait a second. There's a lot of those.
From David and from Thomas. But I'm not a doubter.
Oh.
Gotcha.
Good.
Well, you're named after those the Davids. David, that one David, and then the other David, and then the last David.
Yeah.
All those Davids.
Right. All the Davids. And the
So
kings.
we are glad that you are here,
to
Thomas
be here.
David King.
Good to be here.
You know, back to this whole thing with Facebook, Twitter, Insta crap, and everything else that's going on out there. I don't know.
Every time you
But-
do that, you date yourself.
I know.
Every time.
This Insta what? Who's on that? But
I still have my MySpace.
the interesting thing is, and I really don't have I don't have a dog in the fight. I it's not a hill that I'm going to die on one way or another. But I will say that the direction that we seem to be going, I think it will affect like us as a church sooner than later.
Absolutely.
I think the censorship
That goes for all social media.
censorship is just going to be going. I think it's going to be going nuts here before long.
Absolutely.
And we do use these platforms, you know, and I'm grateful for the platforms. But at some point, I think we as churches, whether we like it or not, will be censored for things that we believe in or speak on.
Yeah. Right. Even in context, out of context kind of stuff. Like you said with that post, the role of women.
Right.
And I think about like past series we've done and titles we've used that really get people's attention and get them thinking. Like Not a Fan, like Crazy Love, like all these weird kind of titles that don't necessarily make sense right off the bat, that I wonder how many of those things, even out of context, will get censored.
Yeah,
Forgiveness, the other F
The
word.
other F word. Stuff like that.
my favorite series was the four asks.
The four ask.
The big ask, the wise ask,
The big ask.
the dumb ask, and the jack ask. Like ask your Uncle Jack.
Right. When did we do that series?
I was a kid in
was
like
about-
youth group.
I don't know if it was even that old because I think I remember, well, maybe this was my dad regurgitating it somewhere else, but he did the jackass one, and I was like, Father, what are you doing?
Oh, the things we have done.
Yep.
Tom King.
Speaking of things we've done.
I'm just a simple fella, man.
Simple. Simple man.
A simple man.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I'd argue with that. I've gotten to know you.
Yeah.
You come across as a simple man, but I will tell you, sharp as a tack, this one. You do some pretty cool things, man.
That's
And we're going to get into those things. Yep. You grew up in this area,
I did.
but you were born a Southern boy, right?
I was born over on the East Coast, and we moved here. My father was in the Navy, so let's see, about mid-'60s we moved here, and then I've been here ever since. So, yeah. Then I met the love of my wife, the love of my life. Say that 3 times, and she's from California. So I always tease that we're yin and yang because she's from the West Coast and I'm from the East Coast, and we meet in the middle.
There you go. Midwesterners now.
Yeah, right. Right.
So, Tom, you grew up in this area, and man, you've done. Well, I don't know. I should probably list the things that you've never done in your life before I list the things all you have done in your life. But
Right.
you've accomplished many things in this life. Pretty interesting things. You were on the firefighter crew for a while, and then a lot of people know you because your culinary skills.
Right. Firefighter. I was a paid on call back in 1978 to about 1991, I think it was, and paid on call firefighter for Zion. And my father always did some catering, some cooking for people, and so I tag teamed with him, and my wife and I had our own catering business about 5-6 years ago that we had for about 10 years. And
okay. That makes a bit more sense. You know, I didn't know that. And so I've been eating your food all this time and been like, wow,
right.
oh, this is so good. How did he learn how to do this? Apparently, you were just really good at it.
That's it.
I weighed 125 pounds until I became friends with Tom.
Tom.
And now,
Yeah. Right. Yep. But yeah, so I mean, food service has always been part of my life. Well, obviously you can see, but I've never pushed away from the table. But yeah, I love to cook, man. It's always good. It's funny because food is always a great way to make people happy. When you're having a party, when you're trying to warm up to some people, you're trying to get to know some people. Food is always something that seems to be at that table that you're at. You know, kind of helps.
food is like the grease of the relationship wheel.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I'm really into that grease.
Yeah, right.
And I'm going to interject and look directly into the camera and go, I feel the biggest segue coming.
Yeah, I was going to say, it seems that food has always been a big part of your life. So it's working quick, hard, and fast. And so I see that logo on your hat.
Yeah.
And onto your cup.
And just
I'm
happens to
thinking,
be on my cup.
Product
makes
product
sense.
placement.
Let
Product
me get a drink of
placement,
that
baby.
water.
You've got the hat, you've got a hoodie, you've got a cup. I don't have anything.
Hey, you like this hat, by the way?
I like that.
This is new. This is new Point merch.
I don't have a hat. I should get a hat.
Yeah.
Should see if she can give me a snapback.
So
Some toe socks.
she gave me this one, and she said she gave it to me for half price. We'll see. I don't know. I don't
half
know. However,
price.
she said she was giving it to me because when I put on clothing, I'm like a billboard. I don't know how to take that.
Wow. I'm so uplifting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're like the broadside of a barn, Tim.
Right.
Right.
Tom King, the Giving Point Food Pantry. Can't escape that.
No, absolutely.
That's a good looking hat too.
It is. It's a mighty fine hat. I know where you can get one.
Oh yeah? Where at?
And follow me right out to that building out there, buddy, to that pantry building.
All you have to do is sign your name on the volunteer line.
That's
Yep,
right.
and you get a hat.
You get a hat and a
We'll
shirt.
Make sure you
and-
get one.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And fulfillment.
That's true.
by serving our community. Which,
Yeah.
hey Tom, you just threw out some numbers from last year.
You know,
Sunday we heard some amazing numbers.
yeah,
Actually,
it's been a crazy year. You know, I'm going to back up just another year. I'm going to go back to 2020, and we were pretty crazy. Well, everybody was, I think, with COVID, right? Because it was just ramped up as tight as it can be, and everything was happening. And for 2020, we distributed over 1,122,000 pounds out of that food pantry building. And
Oh my gosh.
isn't that crazy?
it
Isn't
was
that just absolutely
it was
crazy?
it was just a crazy amount of I'm losing my headset here. But it was just a crazy amount of food, and the amount of people that we were taking care of. And the other thing that was happening for us, we were also loading cars. Previously, we were able to bring people into the building and they could shop, take a shopping cart, walk around, and pick up just what they needed.
Yeah, which actually made your pantry pretty unique from that standpoint because
The
people
way it
were,
was built. too.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
and people were able to pick the items that they
Right.
wanted, and
Yep, just the layout.
almost
of
like
the-
shopping.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what we tried to make it so that you wouldn't be forced to take something that you wouldn't use. And
Yeah, there's no sense in wasting it, right?
absolutely. And so we got through 2020. And as we got into 2021, we were in January of 2021, we were feeding over 500 families every Monday. The
Good
parking lot,
Lord.
the parking lot was just packed full of cars. We had so many cars coming here that they were lined up on Lewis Avenue, and we would actually have when the department would have their police cars out there helping the
Direct traffic,
direct
and
traffic
yeah.
and everything else. And by June, we were able to get back down into the 200s. And we thought we were on like a break. We thought maybe nobody liked us anymore, right?
All of a sudden, you hit Easy Street.
yeah, because I mean, it was like life was pretty easy now.
Well, you could follow that with, and this is no political stance or whatever, but you could kind of follow that with the stimulus, right?
Absolutely.
So the stimulus started happening. People were able to get some more spendable cash,
Yep.
and they were able to buy their own food. They didn't necessarily,
Yeah.
and that goes to the point. And I'm not trying to distract, but I just want to interject this real quick. But I think that goes to the point to show the actual need.
Yeah, absolutely.
People don't come if they don't need
Right.
the food.
Exactly.
When they need it, they show up, and
Yep, and that's what we had found out that when we got so low to the 200s, right now we're back up. We've been as high as 384 families through the end of the year.
and that's per week.
That's per week. That's every Monday.
Man.
And that's serving that many vehicles, that many families from 1:30 to 6 o'clock.
And that's packing boxes, throwing boxes in cars, moving on to the next one, packing boxes, loading boxes.
There's a crew that comes in on Fridays and they pack up to 350, 400, 450, 500 boxes, wherever our numbers are. They pack all those boxes on Friday, this shelf stable stuff, and then we augment it with produce and meat and bread and whatever else dairy that we get in, and that all goes out on Monday.
Plus, you're also getting truckloads in different times, and then
Yep.
sometimes even on Monday morning, you're getting
Another
semi-load loaded.
Yep.
And
I've driven by like on Mondays, like getting off work,
It's
and
wild.
it's worse than the DMV back before COVID.
yeah.
But I mean,
Yeah.
it's run a whole lot more smoothly. I mean,
But it's a
granted,
heck of a lot quicker.
you got like 4 rows of people. No one gets a number. Well, actually, people. Don't
well, the
get
interesting
numbers.
thing, even with that, Joey, is again, it goes back to show the need, which they don't start distributing food till 1, correct?
Or 1:30,
1 o'clock, 1:30.
Yep.
But people are starting to line up at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah. Sometimes we have them even out
10:30?
there at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Man.
They're just that, there's some that are just that hungry.
You're the drive-in theater.
Right. We
I want to
could
get the good parking spot.
right. And the interesting part about it is what we have learned from having so many families before the stimulus started coming out. As the stimulus coming out, some of those larger families and some of the families who were getting more stimulus were able to just come maybe twice a month. And what we ended up having was the majority of our seniors and disabled people, things like that couldn't come out on a normal basis, who couldn't get out of their car to go to the grocery store so they could come to the food pantry because we would just load the car.
Yeah.
And so it was a blessing for us. It's a blessing all the way around to be able to remove something off their plate. You get X amount of dollars. Do you pay your rent? Do you put gas in your car? Do you buy your prescriptions, or do you buy groceries? And everybody needs groceries, right? You all need food. So what is it that we can do? And if we can offer food, that's one less thing you have to really worry about. So that's the whole thing for us with the food pantry and being part of the Point Church. And
Well, I think that was one of the things that we talked about when the pantry, and why we kept expanding it is, how can we fill in the gap? There's gaps in people's lives, and and that's one of the ways in which we thought, wow, there's a gap that we can fill easy enough. We have the ability and the people and the volunteers, and I think you're right. You hear so many stories because there's people, when you look at the people that are coming through the line and you're talking with these people and you're engaging with them, it's people that you probably wouldn't expect. A lot of it is the elderly, for whatever reason. Again, they're on a very fixed income. Life happens. Let's just admit it. Life does happen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it may not have been poor planning, or it could have been that they didn't necessarily know how to plan for their future, or something happened, medical.
That's huge.
Or their job just went away. We had a lot of people who in this area, jobs come, jobs go.
Yeah,
And so point being is there's a lot of people that, man, if it wasn't for this food pantry, they would be sitting there going, what am I going to cut out?
Right, absolutely.
This month. Yeah.
They have that catastrophic event that happens in their life. Maybe their spouse dies, maybe their kid dies, maybe something happens that all of a sudden their world, as we'll call it, was spinning nice and evenly, and all of a sudden this event happens, and now it's spiraling out of control. And what do I got? Oh my gosh, what am I going to do?
Right.
So, and I mean, if you remember, so the food pantry here, even though we're in this brand new building, we're in our 28th year of having a food pantry that started way back from, Todd Parmenter and his wife Pam.
Yep. Todd and Pam Parmenter.
And it started out just in the church in a small little closet.
They had a couple little carts with food on it in a closet.
Yep. And if you were coming to church,
I remember that.
Yeah.
you come to church on Sunday, and if you didn't have enough rice for your meal or whatever, Pam would have something in the cart that you could use, and there you go. And even all the different years and the different moves, there's always been a pantry of some sort. And I remember before we was able to build this building, we had pallets of food lined up around the church. I mean, it was no secret to know that down the hallways you would have maybe 10, 12, 15 pallets of food, because we would have to set up in the auditorium.
Random boxes of cereal stacked on top of each other.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, it was becoming a hazard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we were looking for places and space. We had food jacked up
everywhere,
just stacked up all over this building. And I remember that it was down the what at that time it was called our K-Town hallway.
Yeah,
I remember we were like, we can't do this. Somebody's gonna get hurt.
Kid is gonna jump on this.
They're gonna start throwing cans, whatever. And,
or some tech guy was going to continue to take like little snacks.
Yeah, never be able to get his life in control.
That's why I don't get the code to the garage.
which is funny because you say garage, and the interesting thing is that we were looking at the finances of this, and this was such a fun, amazing story because we went from we just need a place to store the food. We just got to get it out of the building. They can still use the auditorium on Mondays to distribute the food. We've got to have a place to store this.
Right.
So we were just going to build another garage, right? We've got like a 30 by 30 garage on the property, and we're like, let's build another one of those.
Another one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just put one right beside it. Boom. Problem solved.
Well, and I remember you and I had that conversation. It was kind of like a father-son. I got this guy with his arm on my shoulders, and we're walking around, and we're looking at all these pallets, and he's like, how are we going to fix this? He says, man, we got food everywhere. And I'm like, we're just really busy, man. I said, I try to order as little as I can, but the need is so great. And maybe what we need to do is have a pantry building or an outside building. And I remember you and I was having that conversation, and you're like, well, could we? Maybe that'd be the best thing to do. And I know we had some prayer about that. And then you had talked about coming to the congregation, and what was the congregation going to say? And as soon as you brought it to the congregation, you remember what they're like? Yeah, let's do it, man. That we need to be doing that. That's what we need to do.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, when you stop and think about it, there is no income in this building.
Right.
There is no income in having another building like a pantry on your property.
Right.
It's all outgo.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, yeah, when you come to the congregation and they're just like, let's do this.
Yep.
And then it went from a garage. You know,
so much more.
When God just grabs a hold of you and says, "Yeah, look, dummy."
He's like, that might be your office.
Yeah.
We're going to make you a building.
And then
Go
we have
big or go home.
and now we have a building that's almost as big as the whole church building itself.
Yeah, an 80 by 50 foot building.
I think it's massive.
Yeah, 44,000 square feet.
They got the thing built, and I'm looking around inside, and I'm like, man, that's a great basketball court. How are we going to fill this thing?
Yeah.
And now we're like,
Oh boy.
how are we going to add on to this thing?
Yeah.
How are we going to store everything that has to go in here?
Yeah.
I remember that first weekend after it was like officially built,
Yeah.
and we did service in the pantry building.
Oh, that was fun.
That was
We backed the whole semi trailer
Yeah.
into it, and perspective wise, it was just like, holy crap, this thing is huge.
Yeah.
I got to interject.
Massive.
Everyone that says that, oh yeah, that was fun. It was not
was
a
not
tech
fun.
guy. Was not a tech person
No.
or band member
No.
on that stage.
I just don't remember who put that semi inside the building, though, man. That's a food pantry building, not a garage.
Not his garage. This band doing it in my pantry building.
That was an amazing day for the food pantry building.
The
Sure
food
was.
pantry
The
building.
The
Food
food
That's
panty building.
We got $400 for that banner, though. You know,
We did.
that was a great thing. That was
What
nice.
a perfect typo.
Was.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Per-
that-
perhaps you should tell the
Oh my
story so that people that haven't been a part of the church would know.
So we're in the building project, and it took a while to build the building. Probably felt like it took longer than it should have, just from my perspective, because I wanted it built overnight.
Yeah.
Probably went up pretty quick comparatively. However, the building was being built, and we're like, we should put a sign out by the road, just telling people
What's going on?
what we're doing.
Yeah.
So we had a coming soon. So I said, coming soon, North Point Food Pantry. Well, there was a little bit of a typo that
oh no.
several of us missed, including the person who printed the banner for us and made it.
Yeah.
And then several people edited it and looked at it and went, wow, that's great. As a matter of fact, there were people who actually put the sign up. That would be Tom King and myself. I backed off the sign and took a picture of it and was so proud of it, posting it on Facebook and everything else, before we noticed that there was a critical R missing in the pantry.
Oh my lord.
We had some, but you know what? What great publicity, though, right? I mean, everybody got to see that, and they got to comment on that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, we left it up for a few days just on purpose. There was a few people like, I won't mention any names, Doug Rendell,
yeah,
who were like, you got to go take that down.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh,
no,
man,
that's
this-"
great.
yeah.
Negative publicity is good. Is still
Of
publicity.
course, he's the editor, so,
You
Yeah.
might end up with some really, really unique people who really need Jesus.
right?
Yeah.
Showing up at the panty building.
That's
Yeah,
my
yeah.
kind of church right there.
Yeah, right,
Ah.
right, right. But it's been great, man. We have I can't even tell you how many people have come through over the 28 years, but just the amount of families that we've been able to partner with and help and bless and grow close to, and how many of them have, because of those kindness coming from the food pantry, who have actually come. Well, then it used to be North Point Community Christian Church to North Point Church, and now the Point, and how many of them just come here because if this church loves us this much and they're having this food pantry, I got to go check out the church. I got to go see what it's all about.
Well, and the amount of people that, what we recognized early on was the amount of people that want to serve their community.
Absolutely.
Yes.
May have never darkened the doorsteps of a church building in their
Absolutely.
life,
Right.
but this organization, these people are serving our community in a tremendous way, and so people would start coming and serving.
Right.
And when you're rubbing elbows with these people, and they get to know, hey, these Christians aren't necessarily as kooky. Well, they are as kooky as I thought,
Yeah.
but
They're cookier than I thought.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
cookier than
Cookie.
Cookie. I'm hungry. Did you bring? Any
We're
food,
so
Ken?
sweet because we're full of sugar.
Yeah, but anyway, we have gotten a lot of people just by serving.
Yeah.
To come and understand
Yeah.
who the church is, who Jesus is,
Yeah. Absolutely.
simply by serving our community. And I think that's tremendous. And
You could
as a
talk
matter
to
of
so many people on a Sunday morning and be like, hey, how did you hear about this? Oh, Tom King. You're like, oh, Tom King told you about. Well, I was at the food pantry
Right.
serving. Like, why? How'd you get there?
right?
Awesome. Okay, cool.
Well, it's like the building in and of itself. You know, we talked about the fact that we went from a garage, which we didn't know how we were going to pay for in the first place, to this literally $250,000 building that we never went a dime debt in for.
Absolutely.
You know, and that
That's
was the
Jesus right
community.
there.
That was God. That was a church. That was the community just coming and
Yeah.
supporting something that they knew was supporting and helpful and showing generosity to our community. And
Well,
that
and
was
and,
awesome.
and that's a lot of persistence too. I mean, both Tim and Tom, you guys were like I have a problem of like pulling back and like, okay, how can we do this realistically? And then you guys just jump like head into like any impossible task.
Keep plowing forward until it's done.
Yeah.
Put a massive like gauge of like, okay, this is how much money we need to raise, and right now we have this much.
You know, I remember when we put up that somebody had said, kept asking us, how much money do you guys have so far? So we come up with the idea of making a banner out there that was like a barometer, thermometer.
It was a
deal.
roadway to the building. So we had a picture of the
Yeah,
building,
Yeah.
and then we made a roadway,
Yeah,
kind of like that, up to
absolutely.
the building. Yeah.
And when we first started out, it was like we're just kind of like
Little expo mark.
little spot on the bottom.
I
of the
need a
bulb,
thinner
down
Sharpie.
here. And then it was amazing just to watch that grow. And I know that as it grew, the congregation and those who were coming to the church, who were making donations and stuff for the building, it was cool as they got to watch it grow
Yeah.
too. And then finally we got up high enough and we reached out to our contractor and said, hey, we're ready to go, and sat down with him. And then of course there was all these other details and then working with the village and different agencies. And we were glad when it was done.
I was about to say, it was a long process.
You know,
It was-
that's something else you just brought up, Tom, is that, man, I love the fact that over the years, you know, even the founding pastor, Dennis Corley, has started this, which was simply building a great relationship with the community, right?
Absolutely.
At large. And I will tell you that made building that building so much easier.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, some of the hoops that we even had to jump through,
Right.
which were crazy.
Yeah,
But I will tell you, probably a lot less than any other business or anybody else, because
absolutely.
Because that road was already paved.
that road was paved. They knew that we were here to care for the community.
Absolutely.
And they helped open up doors for us.
Thank
Yeah.
God for being characterized by love, acceptance, and forgiveness.
Right.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
And as you were talking about that was one of the things I think that helped our process through this so much easier, because as we would meet with the village and the different agencies, they would say, okay, so here's what you need to do, and let me give you some ideas or hook you up with some connections to make this easier for you.
Right. Come to find out, most of the time, what you have to do is hire a firm, hire a lawyer, hire all these different people to
Yeah.
do the things that they were just saying, here, this is how you should do it.
Yeah.
And they just walked us through the process in many of those cases, which was
Yep.
phenomenal, you
Right.
know?
Absolutely.
And we really appreciate all the help that we got from so many people.
Yeah,
City.
absolutely.
Yeah, it wasn't a straight line or anything like that. It was like you did this, and then you did that, then this, and then backwards and forwards. And
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'm not painting a picture that it was all smooth sailing. We had to do a lot of different things to get that accomplished. To build anything in Lake County, Illinois, anywhere.
Right.
But I will tell you, the other thing that happened through that, which I think is a great God thing. I don't know what the future holds, but they helped rezone even our property, that if we want to build again, that's even less hoops that we have to jump through the way they
Yeah.
zoned our property.
Right.
So That was cool.
We're excited to build on our property.
Yeah.
Very right, guys.
Well, the biggest thing is it's not very many places around that has 16 acres, right?
Right.
So that was, I think, when we went to them and initially in the beginning, that was so unique in its own because they're like, you guys can do whatever you want. We just have to change some zoning around for you guys. You guys have 60. You have the biggest lot in Winthrop Harbor.
Yeah, it helped to rezone it.
So that
specifically
really,
for
yeah. So that really helped. And but as we've gone through the years now and feeding so many people, I could not even imagine not having the volunteers that we have in that building.
Oh my goodness! So I drove through last night. Last night was single digits almost all day yesterday.
Yeah,
actually
5 degrees when we started,
and those volunteers were out there all day, and many of them working outside, loading cars and stuff.
And it's just it's amazing. I mean,
the volunteers you have are just
right,
amazing.
The best.
They are. They really are.
Yeah.
Saints. They're saints.
Well, they come in and they set up, starting early in the morning.
Yeah.
And they're here till sometimes 8 o'clock at night.
Yep. Absolutely.
And
absolutely. And we have, we have the ladies that do the check-in. Sometimes, well, as of even yesterday, it was just one, and I'll say her name. It was my wife, Mary. She takes care of the check-in and everything because that's not my forte. And that's probably the best reason she doesn't let me do it. But she has a way of doing it. And so yesterday it just happened to be that all the other ladies that were out there were not here. So she was able to get it going. And on the other side, we have, this is a dangerous zone to go into, but I'm going to name a few. We have Patty and JT Thompson, who are huge out there. They come Monday, sometimes
I was going to say they're out there multiple times during the week.
Absolutely.
Doing the Lord's work.
That's it. And from moving some pallets to loading boxes on Friday. You were talking about packing these boxes. And so Patty oversees a crew that comes in on Friday and just starts getting these boxes packed. And we have other ladies that are in prime spots, I'll say. Maybe they oversee the produce or they oversee the bread or the
And let me
dairy.
tell you something. Don't try to get into their area.
And that's it.
They know what's up. They know what's down.
And they do. And
it.
I'm not even second guessing the fact that they have that down to a science.
They do.
I mean, you
But
think
I will
about the
tell you-
hours that they've put in.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Like,
They own it. And that's great.
oh, absolutely.
You know, they own that spot and they know what they want to do and they know how they want to get that out. And I think the leadership of Tom, which is do it, make it happen. We
You
got to get
got
this out the door.
Yeah.
Go get it. And they do it, man. And it's actually fun to watch.
It is.
It's fun to watch all these people. You know, they use that word. I don't know. Do they use the word synergy anymore? Is that even a word?
I'm confused.
No, that was like 2018.
Was that
Yeah, that was
years
only
ago.
the
Oh,
80s
crap.
called and they want
What
their
year was
word
it?
back?
That was pre-COVID.
Synergy.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening there. There's a synergy where everybody has their own task, but they're just working. Looks like a bunch of ants out there.
a well-oiled
It is.
machine.
Well-oiled,
It is.
greased machine.
greased machine. Nice,
Right.
nice callback.
Right. And we have a guy that comes by after he gets off work. Terry is his name. And he comes by and he'll haul out cardboard and stuff. And sometimes it's 6 o'clock at night now. It's pitch black. But he puts on a hat with a
headlamp?
flashlight on there, and he's
Man.
hauling out, making trips. Even last night, I think he made about 4 or 5 trips out to the dumpster and the recycling bin. And as Tim said, it was 5 degrees.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, why do they do it? Because they love to serve. There's no other. There's not because they don't get paid.
There's great purpose and meaning behind what they're doing.
Yeah.
If you don't have that,
That's it. That's
you
it.
know. And Terry, I love Terry because, dude, he's the one makes that warehouse organized.
Yeah,
it's going to be organized, man, when he's done with it, for sure.
Absolutely.
So, question, and this is just sidebar, maybe business stuff, but have you guys ever considered moving the dumpsters?
The dumpsters? That's what I was just thinking that.
So we did talk about that. Because,
Actually, we built a pad for it.
yeah.
And then the pad got used for
Well,
building that little box thing.
here's what we found.
The ladies' box.
We built the pad too small, and nothing against garbage truck drivers. Nothing against. As a matter of fact, thank you, garbage. If you are a garbage truck driver, thank you.
Yeah.
You're amazing.
You are amazing.
Yeah.
I mean that. However,
If you could come a little later than you do normally, I would appreciate it.
our pad was too close to the building, and we were like, "This is going to get hit. They're going to hit the
Yeah.
building. They're going to hit the overhang. They're going to do something." So
Okay.
Yeah.
we would actually have to extend the pad that we built
Yeah.
for that area a little bit. So
Yeah, and it's possible that might happen, but the only thing, if we were ever going to move anything, the only thing I would move would be just the cardboard. We generate so much cardboard that that's what's crazy.
and we recycle that. So
Yeah, it's recycled.
Also,
but-
so the other problem about moving the dumpsters, then it's out in the front.
yeah. Well, it would be on the side of the building, but if we ever decided to move anything, I would just
recycle bin.
move the recycling bin. So
but amazing stuff happening out there.
it is.
And we talked about the community, but the fun thing about this project also was, and Tom, you can speak to this too, because you know more of the other churches. I've said this in other podcasts that we're part of the Big C Church. You know,
Yeah.
we're part of a global church, and one of the things that the food pantry did that you don't see often enough was this community aspect where a lot of other churches got involved, got engaged,
Coming together.
Yeah.
and came together, and they helped even generate some of the funds
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
make this thing happen.
Absolutely.
And they're sending volunteers, and
Absolutely.
and you see this cooperation of this community being built between
Yeah.
people that may not have ever worshiped together, but they're serving together.
Serving
You
together.
know,
And that is worship.
and which is worship.
Yeah.
So
And that's what's so unique about it is because we have one of our biggest, I'll say, church donor bases or volunteer bases is Trinity down the street.
Mhm.
They have a group of ladies that there's as many as 10 or 12 ladies that comes from their missions group,
That's awesome.
and that's part of their mission to come down here and serve. So they're down here sorting out produce and this and that and helping to box stuff up, and just so we're blessed with that. And we couldn't do it without the help of the community. That's for sure.
Like, what an opportunity to see Jesus move.
Yeah.
Like, just in like a simple, tangible way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So what are the biggest needs? It's amazing to me how full the building is with food. All kinds of stuff. All kinds of food. Good food, nutritious
I
food.
was about to say good food.
Yeah. But and it just keeps coming in. But what are the greatest needs that the Giving Point Food Pantry has?
Probably our biggest needs, it changes from season to season. So one of the things that it's taken us a while to realize is that when you get canned goods, not everybody has a can opener. Not everybody has this little opener, right?
I
So
never thought about that.
so some of the stuff that we don't get that people ask for are pop top cans. And we're like, let's go get a can opener. But they may be homeless, or they may be living in their car, maybe in a hotel room, so they don't have this. So
Right.
we're always in need of canned items that have the pop top. One of the other things that we had just developed within the last year and a half is we partner with Catholic Charities for diapers.
Mhm.
So we have, I want to say there's about 60 families to get diapers every month, and you can get diapers, I think, twice a month through this agency, but you can get them from us. But one of the hardest part for that is the wipes, diaper wipes. Well, that's probably another one of our biggest needs. Volunteers, that's huge for us. But I'm gonna just take a second and back it up. If we could ask anybody to do anything for us, number one is just pray. Pray that we can help to ease somebody that is struggling with hunger by being insecure in food. pray that we can reach out to them, that they would be able to find us, to come to us, and let us help them. Secondly, it would be donations through food products, pop-top cans, baby wipes, anything that you have.
And you've named some specific things on purpose.
Right.
And one of the reasons that you've named some things on purpose is what we found is, you may not get those items from like the Northern Illinois Food Bank or when we go to gather food from around the area, so you don't know what you're getting, but those are specific items that people need.
So
and I'm sure you're getting to this, but that dollar amount, what you can buy food for, for your dollars.
And I was going to say, actually, that's my third item. First is prayer. First and foremost is prayer. Second would be some donations through food. We'll take anything that's shelf stable. We don't take anything that's perishable, because we don't want to take a chance on it spoiling before we get rid of it to somebody who can use it. We just don't do that. Third is financially.
Mm-hmm.
So as you had mentioned earlier we were talking about 2020 with 1,120,000 pounds. This last year, we came in about 900,000 pounds. So we were a little less than the year before, but part of
so much food.
It is. And when you think about that, we're pushing out about 25 to 30,000 pounds every Monday is going out that door. But for us, with 900,000 pounds, even with some grant money, our expenditure to buy that food was over $130,000. So if you're able to make a donation of financial support, we would love that as well. And you can do that either, I know there's a couple different ways, but you can go to the pointgive.org, and you can mark it on the thing for the food pantry.
Yeah, there's a special drop down there. You can just go and it will 100%. I want people to know this, that there's no overhead on this. That's the great thing about when you donate to the food. There's no administrative cost. There's nothing that comes out of it. 100% will go towards the food that people are getting in the community. 100%.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely, and there's not a single person in the pantry building that's paid. Not even myself. Everybody tells me I'm putting jewels in my crown in heaven, and I'm trying not to get there too fast, but it's but it's a hard job. But you know what? God is amazing, because he takes care of us. But financial support is that's a huge thing for us. One of the other things we had ran into earlier on last year was we would take a truck and go to the different stores that we pick up at. But the truck, which was donated to us by a very generous donor, we were finding out that we have to make 2 trips sometimes to go to the stores to pick up, because it would only hold about 6 pallets of food. And we ended up getting in the market through a very, very close friend of ours, Keith Pesey, who actually just passed away about 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. Very, very strong supporter in a couple different food pantries, running them. Huge for us at the Giving Point Food Pantry. He was one of our drivers. In fact, I'm going to say this: he was the driving force for the truck, for this new truck that we just got. Right, a new to us but used truck.
I don't think there was a conversation before we had the truck. Months before the truck, every time I'd run into Keith, it was, "Hey, how about a new truck for that pantry?
Yeah,
we could really use it." And boy, he had it laid out too, because we would save this and we'd save on fuel, and and boy, he had it all worked out, man.
Yeah,
that was his dream.
So through his efforts and ours, we were able to find a nice truck over in Grand Rapids, Michigan. And
what a drive.
That was.
And it was in January of last year. The 3 of us, on one of the days that it was supposed to have so much snow, it was hesitant that we were even going to go to get the truck. But Tim, thank God for Tim. Tim's like, dude, we'll go get the truck and we'll get through it, no problem. And I remember Keith having some conversation, but what if the truck is too light to come back through the snow? I'm like, well, then, dude, we'll go to Sam's Club and we'll buy a couple pallets of water.
We'll load that thing up. No problem.
Yeah.
We got.
That's what it's for.
Some weight in the
We're
back.
going to get this truck.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was a huge blessing for us to be able to get that truck, and that was also
That was like a 4 cigar trip, if I remember right.
on the way back. Yeah, on the way back. But it was such a cool.
That's how
adventure.
Tom and I gauge,
That's
where
trip.
we're going, is how
Yeah.
many cigars it takes to get there.
Yeah. Yeah, like going up to the Boundary Waters, we've gone a few times now.
Heaven. Not many more cigars to get there.
They're just gold banded.
I may not be going there, but I smell like I've been to hell.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Right.
Cigars smell pretty good, Tim, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to put a warning on the bottom of this video. This is smoking kills. Okay.
Yeah.
Smoking
The Surgeon General.
Yeah.
But it's such an awesome morning thing to
Citation
be able
needed.
to see how God has just orchestrated this whole, as we'll call it, the new pantry building and this truck, and just to be where we are today, to be part of a church, but yet to be the Giving Point Food Pantry, and for the support that we get from Northern Iowa Food Bank, who we're an agency of them, that we can get food from them. And as Tim was kind of alluding to earlier, I think was for every $1 you donate, it turns into $8 at the food bank. So that is just the power that Northern Iowa Food Bank has in purchasing food. So for every $1, it turns into $8, which helps us to buy food to bring back into the pantries, agencies we call them.
$100 is almost $1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
huge.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Not to mention all the places that you have worked out, stores
Yeah,
that we're able to go and pick up produce from, and all kinds of things, spread
yep.
meats from, and just locally that give towards this effort. And
Right.
it's amazing. It's amazing.
And the other thing I will say, the blessing behind all that is, we all know that grocery stores are getting more expensive, and I don't know if I lived in a fog. I'm not sure what was really happening, but a year ago you could go get a steak for $3 or $4, right? And now you see some of this meat that's being donated from the stores, and these steaks are $24, $27. I saw a post on Facebook earlier today, and it was somebody had used to get pot roast for like $1.69 a pound, and the pot roast that they just were able to buy this year was $5.69 or something a pound.
Yeah.
That's why we're busy, because you have to make those decisions of, what do I use my money for? Well, by God's grace, we're able to do it here.
And the fact that we're able to get, the proteins
Yep.
and the vegetables,
Quality food.
Yep.
It's not just junk food that's coming out, because
Right.
I've seen seasons in our past where that was the case, where
Yeah.
it was easy to get a hold of
Chips.
junk food, if you will.
Chips and cereal and crackers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But right now, and I don't think you understated it, but I don't think we can state it enough, because I laugh. I just watch how God has gone before us in this so many times to be able to provide the quality of food that we're, able to push through that building is just,
Right.
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
It's just amazing, actually.
Absolutely.
And I got a question for you. I mean, we do have good food, and the question though is, with regards to like your first point, you made a point of like prayer for people. Was it prayer for people we used to call them clients, and the food bank likes to call them neighbors, because in essence we're all neighbors, right? We all live in a community. So it's for us to be able to, the prayer is that we would be able to meet the needs of the neighbors, and that the neighbors would not feel, oh my gosh, I could never go to a food pantry, because
Pride.
it's the pride thing. Yeah,
Right.
we've talked about that several
Right.
times. Even
So a story with that, I remember several
I had
years
a
ago.
question, but continue.
Well, to his point,
Yeah.
and to bring this back, I have to speak when I'm ready to speak, or I'll forget.
Same.
But we had an EMT come in one time, and they went in to help someone in their house. They started going through the cabinets, and this was an elderly person, and there was no food in the house.
Right.
Nothing in the refrigerator, nothing.
Right.
And they were like, why don't you have any food? And they were like, because I have no money. And part of it is that they didn't have the knowledge, and it was just knowledge. It wasn't that they were dumb. It was just they didn't have the resources to know that there are things out there. There are places out there. There are resources out there to help and want to help.
Yep, absolutely.
And then the other thing is pride.
Yep, that's huge.
You think people want to sit in the cold,
right?
To come in and get food and all these other things. They really don't.
Right.
They have to do it. They need, the need is there.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
just getting people to break down that barrier.
Well, and from thinking psychologically, I mean, I am dating a counselor. The mere facade of actually like going to a counselor, like going to go get help, it's quite difficult for people at times. Like you're saying, pride, like, oh, I don't need to do this. Or maybe many people grew up, especially the elderly, where it's like you work for what you get. So you put in so many hours at work. I mean, you put in more, or you get a second job, then you can get that additional whatever you wanted to get,
right?
Steak or whatnot. But
right.
like for especially this last year, I mean, people lost their jobs. People got sick. They had to stay home to cover for the people that got sick. You had to pay medical bills for people that went to the hospital, and times got so tough. My dad laughs because he's maxed out his the deductible like twice in the last 2 years with both my mom and him combined.
Yeah.
And it's like you get to the point where it's like, who can come to the food pantry? And and ultimately the question or the answer is who? What, Tom?
Anybody can come to it. So
who can't?
Who can't come to it?
Who can't come? Nobody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's there for everybody. I mean, but we have to get over that pride thing, and that's the hardest part. Along with the pride, the other part of that pride is I can't let my neighbors see me go into a food pantry.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, they're able to go. They can go to Costco, and walk back in with that package of steaks that's $385, and I got to go to a food pantry. Do you guys have after hours that I can come there? I mean, that's that's what they're thinking, and so we try to remove all that so that you don't have to worry about a thing.
Well,
Just
one of the things that took place quite a while ago, actually, is we implemented, and we've had people come in and kind of challenge us on this from time to time, but some organizations, and I'm not downplaying other organizations and why they do what they do, and I understand the philosophies behind it to help people get out of the circumstances and the situations to help them get out of those circumstances and situations they find themselves in. But a lot of times in those organizations, there's a lot of red tape to jump through.
Right.
A lot of hoops to jump through to be able to get the resources that they have available to them. Right. And I understand why they do those processes.
Right.
But what we said was, we need to be here for the emergencies where they don't have another week. They don't have 2 weeks. They don't have 3 weeks to jump through these hoops.
They need
to get to the food. So if they need food, come get food.
That's it.
And
that's it.
And that's our stance. That's where it's been. And we do try to hook people up with resources to move them along.
Absolutely.
Maybe they're in a jam. It's kind of like our PADS program, right? Helping out the homeless. And, it wasn't just giving them a mat and a floor to sleep, but there was times where we would help them find the resources they need to get back on their feet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the food pantry does the same thing by trying to help not only give them a hand out, but a hand up in life. And we're always there for people in those situations.
Absolutely. Joey, did I answer your question?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Good job.
Also, Joey, are you going to psychoanalyze everything that we do now?
I am pretty much of a psycho.
I already do that.
He's dating. Did you catch that? He's dating.
Yeah. I was like, nice drip there, Trey. I am dating a counselor.
So now, by osmosis, he is a counselor.
He knows it all.
He's a counselor in training.
I mean, I just got to plug it in, like I have a girlfriend.
Just so you know, ladies, I am taken.
Off the market.
I was gonna say, what he's trying to say.
After
Is
all these years,
yeah.
this prime cut of meat has been bought.
Cooked medium rare.
No, not yet. I don't see no ring.
But another interesting
Get
thing
cooked yet.
that we have done here at the church and through the food pantry is, as you had mentioned about people being able to come anytime. We have that little food pantry box that's right out in front of the church here, and that's exactly what it's called, the little food pantry. And you can drive up to that 24 hours a day, middle of the night, if maybe you work second shift, third shift, I don't know, whatever shift you're working, and you find yourself hungry. There's a little pantry box there, is stocked with food. One of the coolest things that I see is people using it, but I also see people filling it.
That's what I was going to say. I pulled it in this morning, and I was on the phone. So I was just sitting in my truck, and I was talking with Doug Rendell again. There's the second time his name is coming
up today.
Yeah. Anyway, I was talking with Doug Rendell on the phone, and there was somebody that pulled up, and they just start stocking that thing.
That's it.
And that's another one of those places. That's where I think we first started hearing people go, hey, I need food that I can eat out of my car.
Yeah.
Or wherever I'm staying or whatever.
I had no idea what that was.
I can't
until just now.
Yeah.
Did you?
No clue.
So
I'm like, what's this bird feeder we have out front that has food in it?
Yeah. So
Matt kept taking his used books and putting in there.
I'm like,
I wondered who
isn't this one of those library things?
Yeah.
I wondered who was
funny
putting those.
that's my first thought was.
I wonder who kept putting those used coloring books in there.
Oh, that's really funny.
Yeah, the
used coloring books.
I'm done with that. It's not a it's a food depository dispenser.
That's awesome. I didn't know we had that.
Yeah.
So you'll see that
people keep it filled.
Yeah,
and,
they do.
And people do stop by and get food all the time.
Yeah, we have quite a few in our neighborhood that if I see it before they do, I'll just put out something on Facebook, either on the Giving Point or on my own personal page, and I'll just say, hey, if anybody is out and you have a couple extra things in your cabinet, the food pantry box at Point Church could be use a little help, a little love, I say. And usually within about an hour and a half, there's probably 3 or 4 cars that have all come, and by that time, it's full. It's full.
Yeah.
And sadly, by the next day, it's already empty because that's how many people do come.
They need it.
They need it. Yeah. So.
Well, Tom King, you're doing an amazing job out there, and I will tell you that your vision and your leadership, your organization has just, taken with God's leading. You said that already, but man, that thing is just taking off, and you are helping so many people. What do you remember the numbers off the top of your head? I know you didn't come in with those, but how many people? You mentioned families.
So families, no. But
how many people?
You give me a minute, I can come up with that information for you.
Right?
This is where he's going to text his wife, Mary.
No, I just happen to have that on my phone,
Which is so critical to that ministry, by the way.
It is.
His wife,
absolutely,
Mary.
It is
just.
I remember a little joke that was made maybe last year when you guys were filling out some government papers that required an address. And you put down your home address, and she said, no, 900 Lewis. You live at that pantry.
It was funny because that was exactly so true. I was telling her,
retirement.
I'm gonna use my address, and she says, I think you ought to put the 900 Lewis Avenue. She said, because you're there more than you are here.
Well, I'll tell you who this guy is. So we get an audit every year. We have to do an audit because of our mortgage situation. They require us to do an external audit every year. Boo. That's my pastor word for that. Boo. Anyway, so they come to Tom last year and they said, so what is your ending inventory for your building? Now, this is a food pantry that's moving in food daily.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Free food that people are donating, this, that, and the other. And they were asking us if we could give an end-of-the-year inventory for the food that is left.
0.
And we're like, it changes every day.
Right.
And I would have just left it at that because I'm like, whatever, go You want to know? Go look. Tom King. This is Tom King. He's got his volunteers out there the other night, and they're weighing every box, every can, every item that is in that pantry to be able to give our auditors for an end of the year closeout. So that's just kind of how Tom is. I appreciate his leadership, his organization, his structure and systems, and
Man,
that was nuts. That was nuts.
Yeah. So it's over with the over 5,700 families. It equates to just over 56,000 individuals.
oh my
56,000
God.
individuals. And I wasn't prepared for this part, but I can tell you that what we are averaging is about 20% of that 57,000 is children under the age of 19.
Wow.
We're pretty close. If we say 20%, we're pretty close to that. And
Wow.
as we were talking about the end of the year inventory, I had no idea how much we carry over, right? I wasn't sure if it was a lot or a little.
Because I'm looking at that food going in and out of that building, and I'm like, so you want us to measure this, huh?
How?
So to be honest with you,
You bring in your bean counters and count it.
I was totally shocked how little we do carry over. I only have a little bit left to weigh, and we're at 38,000 pounds.
Yeah, but you have perfected food in, food out.
Yeah, absolutely.
FIFO. You did it.
FIFO.
You did FIFO.
Yeah, you
If you work food industry, you know what FIFO is.
You got to keep it moving because it doesn't do us any good to fill a warehouse if we're not distributing it out.
Distributing it, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that speaks volumes too. That
Yeah.
we're not storing.
Yeah.
It's a
Man.
parable right there. Wait a second.
That's man. It's just a rotating door with that food.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think about if we carried over from 21 to 22, it'll end up being, I'm going to call it 40,000 by the time we're done. And we're distributing 28 to 29,000 pounds of food every Monday.
Oh my gosh.
That's a pantry and a half.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how low we can go. It may look like a lot, but when you are distributing out that much food,
We're going through it.
We go through it. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I remember when we built the building, we're like, man, we could probably have like 3 or 4 weeks worth of food in here.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, 1.5 weeks
I was
worth.
about to say it's less. That's incredible.
Yeah,
The need is great.
it is. It is. But it's a blessing. It's a blessing to be able to do it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's just fun to watch.
Yeah.
Fun to see God move through this, and the amount of people that have been impacted. It's just incredible, actually.
And the support from the community. I mean, that's a blessing also that you have so many people that support you financially, who want to come along, who reach out to you. Hey, how can I help you? Hey, I got a check for you guys. Can I drop it off? How do I support you this way? Who can come to the pantry? How many hours? Do you take care of just Illinois residents? Do you have to be just Winthrop Harbor? And to be honest with you, because we're so close to the state line, we have Wisconsin residents and Illinois residents, because we kind of have this I don't know what I'm going to call it, but we're going to call our philosophy is that if you're hungry, come see us.
Yeah.
I don't think God tells only feed the people that came from the other side of this rock. I think God says, right? God says,
Yeah.
feed everybody. Take care of your brothers and your sisters, the widows, the orphans, everybody.
Yeah, the only condition we've ever put on people getting food is if you're a Packer fan, you get a little bit less. It's a small percentage.
You get
but
less cheese.
You don't need it.
Sucks. You don't need it.
Just kidding.
That's one of the questions that we can't ask if they're a Packer fan or not.
So Tom King, here's the question. This has all been amazing information, and I hope a lot of people watching have gained an appreciation for what you and your amazing volunteers are doing.
Cohort.
Your wife and your volunteers and everybody are doing. There's so many people that.
Yeah.
But let me just ask the question: why? Why are you doing this?
Well,
What makes Tom King tick to a point where he's like, I'm going to spend countless hours.
Yeah, he's going to live here.
Yeah, at this building.
Well, here's the interesting thing. Food service was such a vital part of my first part of my life, all the way up to 2015. In 2015, I started having some medical conditions, and I actually retired and on disability. I retired. And for me, what did retirement mean? Here I'm thinking like in a lazy boy chair, watching different shows all day long.
Fishing pole,
maybe a couple more cigars. I don't know. I don't exactly know what I thought it was. I just knew that physically I couldn't do my job. Well, it was funny because all of a sudden, God's like, hey, dude, that's a great plan you got there, but that's not the one we're going to go with. And the plan that we're going to go with is, I know you love to serve people, you love to help people, you like to make people happy through your food. So we're going to put a spin on it. And I was asked to overtake the food pantry here at the church. And I'm like, God, this was not my plan. and God said, dude, but this is what you're going to do. So that's how I ended up doing the food pantry. I was asked to do it, and God just 100% has supported me, pushed me, gave me strength, brought volunteers, brought the financial support that we need, brought my brother Tim here, who supports me along with all of you guys and all of the church. But with my brother Tim here, it's like, hey man, how you doing? How are you doing? And what can I do to help you? What's the ask? As he always says, what is there's an ask. All you gotta do is ask. And when you get through all that, and you realize that what you're doing is making so many other people happy, how can you hate what you're doing? I love to serve. I don't know, through being an elder and a pastor here at the church, through the various roles that I oversee in the church building itself, to the food pantry, to spending time with my wife, to our 4 children, our 9 grandchildren. That's probably why I'm here more, because of all the grandchildren. Let's cut that part out just in case they listen someday.
Nope. Yeah, you're done.
But I love doing it, man.
I think that's one of the words that, many of the words that I would use to describe you, but one of them is faithful servant.
Yeah.
I've seen that in you and Mary, and you've passed that on to your kids, and faithful servant. Yeah. I look at this guy and I don't know how far to go into this, but I'll share a little bit. Tom, I know that it's a struggle financially for you guys, just because of your disability and these kind of things, and where you're living, and just circumstances. But the one thing I always love about Tom is that God always comes first.
Yeah,
even in his finances, God always gets his first fruits. Absolutely. And Tom, I've heard you say it so many times that, like, on paper, you're broke. I can't make it. There's no way at the end of the month that I've got anything left in the bag.
Right.
And yet you make God first, and it always works out. And
that's it.
That's how you live.
Yeah.
And so first thing that runs in my mind is always that faithful servant.
Yeah. You can't get through life without that. People will argue with you all day long. You can get through life without it. You can get through life without having God. You can get through life without tithing. But I can tell you that for sure, when your income level is here and your bill level is here, but you put God first, all of a sudden everything is paid.
Doesn't make sense on paper.
And you get to the end of the month and you're like, there's still money in this checking account, or there's still, and it's never a whole lot, but it's always enough that you're able to survive. So You have to put God first. You have to put him first. That's all there is to it.
Love it. Love it.
Yep.
So, real quick, I guess we're not in a hurry. Anybody in a hurry?
No, but we are at an hour and 11 minutes. But
Man, we're killing it then.
yeah, it's good
This is
stuff.
the second longest podcast so far, guys. Let's keep, come on.
All
Let's
right,
make
thanks
it the longest.
Thanks for watching.
Make it number one. No.
Make it number
Can't let Ron beat Tom.
Make it number one. Make it number one. Well, tell us a little bit about your church, if you will, or God's story. How did you end up at the Point Church?
So interesting story. Growing up in Zion, of course, I had always went to one church. I went to one church for, I want to say it was right at about 50 years. For a long time.
Yes, that's older than you are, Matt.
That's old.
For about 50 years. And I've seen a lot
That's
of
older than this church.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Good call.
But I saw many different changes and most of them good. Let me put a little plug in there for change. If you don't do well with change, you got to figure out how to handle change, because everything changes. Today is not going to be the same as it's going to be tomorrow, and yesterday is different, or was different than it is today. So it changes every day. So first thing you got to do is always accept change.
The only constant
is
change.
Is change. If you ever want to go to a party and it's going really smooth, throw something in there to change it, and just watch some people go, what do I do? I don't know what to do. How am I going to get over to that chip table now because they put a chair in my way or something, and it's trying to adapt. You can't figure out how to adapt to get to it, right?
I always play Backstreet Boys. That's what.
Yeah,
does it.
exactly, right.
Oh,
Is that a group?
Goodness. Is that a group?
Yes. Now they're Backstreet Men.
Oh, Backstreet Men. But once they were Backstreet Babies, right?
Change.
Yeah. So just going there for at least 50 years. My oldest daughter, Alicia, had been singing at this church when it was North Point Community Church, and so it was kind of hard to go to this other church that we've been going to for so long, and the other part of your family is all going to different churches. Well, sitting there one day, it's like, this is crazy, because now I'm not enjoying church because my kids are all going to another church and they're singing. Alicia was singing, not the other ones, but singing and having fun at the church. I'm inquisitive. I need to go find out what's different there. There's that change word. I got to go find out what's different there. So we'd come and visited a couple of times and loved to hear my daughter sing. And there's this guy.
I want to make sure that they hadn't joined a cult. That's what you were doing. Let's be honest.
And there's this guy up there that's
Italian
bringing the Italian stallion, the eye candy, who's bringing the messages. And
That was Dennis Corley.
That was Dennis Corley at the time.
Sadly,
Tim,
I think
the Italian stallion.
I think when I came, he was just about done preaching, because I think I had only heard him preach once or twice.
Dennis, yeah.
From that time. So that all around that time. And coming here to hearing you speak was like, man, this guy knows my life, because he's talking the real time issues. He's talking there's not a sermon that Tim doesn't use himself as an illustration. We all know that.
Because he's so messed up.
It's usually the negative side. Let's be honest.
But whenever you're talking, it's like you're not saying you got a problem. You're always referring to, I got a problem and I might struggle with this or I struggle with that. And when you bring the ownership, and you're not pinpointing somebody else that you're never going to make it, and you realize we're all sinners and we all fall short of God's grace, and we have to, we're all on level playing ground, as I'll say. And so from hearing those kinds of messages from Tim for, I don't know, probably a month and a half, 2 months, I was like, I was sold. I had to come here. I had to switch. I had to come over here because this was something that was more in tune to my life. So we started coming here, and you guys haven't kicked me out yet. And in fact, you guys lent me so much, you gave me a key to the door. So,
Well, of course we did.
Yeah.
How could we not?
With many keys come great responsibility.
Well, actually, let's be honest. And I don't want to stroke your ego or break your ego, but
yeah,
basically, if you go through our newcomers class, you get a key. So
That's so that if I lose my key, somebody can let me in so I can
somebody's got
find
a
it.
key. Yeah.
now, actually, that's because if you want to get into the building, I don't have to drive 7 miles one way to let you in.
Yeah. Right.
We just dealt with that literally yesterday. Like I did actually lose my key, and my wife had to come here and find it.
Right?
Yeah.
Who helped her find it?
The Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
No.
it was the Boy Scouts.
I have the messages on my phone.
See, needs the credit.
Right?
Has a girlfriend. What's next, Joey?
Yeah.
So why did we have to banter that, Joey? Is there a psychological reason that we had to go through that? And
it was the counseling.
can you call your girlfriend? And
She's working right now.
oh, dang it! Anyway,
No.
Tom King.
But
They're just upset they haven't met her yet. You need
but
to come, Alexis.
I've
You need to
also
come.
not met you, Alexis, and supposedly we're supposed to be best friends. So
Wait a minute. Time
Kinda
out.
missing out.
I've met her.
what?
You have?
Yeah.
Where?
It was last year somewhere other than this facility. Where were we at? Where would we have been at a party or a gathering together?
I don't think so.
She would remember me. Ask her.
that's probably why there's still. That's probably why there's still an item, because she hasn't met any of us yet.
Right.
Which is what Joey's afraid of. Ergo, why we've not met her.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you that since we switched here,
Back to Tom.
I'm gonna get it back over here.
Take control of the situation, Tom. Quick.
I got to keep Joey off the market. But you know what? There's so many different things that we do here at the Point. Rebuilding together, just to even go out to help somebody on the Rebuilding Together projects, and reaching out and working with you on some of these different, helping somebody move or whatever these tasks are. That's what makes us an awesome church, is that we're not afraid to step out and help somebody. We're not afraid to get a little dirt on our clothes, or a lot of dirt, or whatever it is. We're not afraid to do that. And I think that's the part that I love about being able to serve with you guys and serve with Tim and help and be a part of it. So
Hands and feet, man. Hands and feet. If we can't make a difference in people's lives, we were talking about this in staff meeting earlier, is that those two things have to go in hand, right?
Yeah.
You saw Jesus feed the 5,000,
right.
right? You saw Jesus feed the 5,000 because he had compassion upon people. He healed people because he had compassion for people.
Absolutely.
And yet he never left them hanging there just with the felt need being taken care of. It was a demonstration of who he was, and he also spoke truth.
Yeah,
he gave
absolutely.
love, and he demonstrated care. Because if you
Absolutely.
really want to love on people, you share truth with people. And so
Yeah.
I think there's we have to try to balance that, where we do want our community to succeed. Why? For the
Yeah.
cause of Jesus Christ.
That-
We do want people to feel like they're loved and cared for and accepted and forgiven
Yeah.
right where they're at, to demonstrate that love of Jesus,
Yeah.
be able to speak that truth of who he is into
it.
them. And
Exactly.
if we as a church can't accomplish that, then I think we're really struggling with what the mission of the church should really be.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dude, I don't need to say no more. I couldn't have said it any perfect. That is why you are the eye candy, the Italian stallion of the Point Church.
Well, sometime the eye candy's going this way.
I was about to say, more the chameleon candy.
Don't be jealous.
Don't be jealous that I can look left and right at the same time.
Wait. He's looking at both of us, me and Matt.
Do they still call that?
Hey, it's a gift.
Personality.
Wait a second. We've got a whole different problem now. Anyway, fill their mouths, speak the truth. Good job, Tom. You did
Fill
it.
their mouths, speak the truth. Whoa. We've got a new slogan.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
no.
Sorry, Shannon. I see new logos coming.
Fill their mouths.
Well, and quite honestly, like all this joking aside, I mean, what is the church when you don't help the community? What is the church when you don't feed the orphans, the widows? What happens to the church?
That's it. That's it.
It closes. They close their doors.
Yeah, I think you lose your congregation because I think that people are striving to be a part of that. I think the majority of the people get it, that you like to be served, but you also like to serve. And what is that?
Oh, there's such a fulfillment in that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
I mean,
I think Shannon said, and you can back up and watch the last podcast. She was just speaking about this in the last podcast when we had her on, that she had a counselor who said to somebody that was just in deep depression, her recommendation was go serve someone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go serve someone.
That's it.
And there's
life-giving.
There is life-giving, and it gets your mind off of. Let's be honest, it kind of gets your mind off of yourself to other people. And if nothing else, from a theological standpoint, that makes you more like your creator.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. And I think by
draws you in. It just
that's for sure.
Tom's practically Jesus.
No, I'm far from it. I'm a sinner just like you, brother.
Well, all right. Yeah, I guess so.
But if anybody's ever looking for information on the food pantry, you can go to thegivingpoint.org, or you can go to the point.
Links will be in the comments.
WH.org.
Link will be in the comments.
Oh, all right. Yeah. That's great.
You know what'd be really cool if I could figure out how to put it above his head.
That would probably be me doing like banners and whatnot, and I don't.
No. I think I can do this. Wait a second. If there's one above his head, I did that.
Oh wait. Let me go to his face.
Yeah,
maybe the side of him there.
If there's one like right over here or right over there,
Just
I did
look
that.
for this symbol, or
you click on his hat. Wait, no, okay, getting a little too.
I
It's a little
just
too
happen to
complicated.
have that logo on my cup here. If you need to find the Giving Point.
So Tom King and I actually next week we'll be heading to north central Wisconsin.
Oh,
We're going to do a little ice fishing.
I was about to say you guys are dipping.
That's That's a 4-hour cigar.
Yeah, it's a 4-cigar drive.
4-cigar drive. I mean,
That's a
About
4-cigar.
cigar. I can't make a cigar last that long.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah, we're going up and doing a little ice fishing. I remember one time we were on this same body of water that we're going to this time. And it was, when was that? October?
Yeah.
Were we out there in October? Or was it
great.
September?
Yeah, it was October.
All I know is the snow was coming sideways, and we're hunkered down in this boat, not giving up.
We
Didn't catch a fish.
No.
Didn't get a nibble.
No.
We're not
Had some
getting out
cigars though.
But we did have a few cigars in the boat. Yeah.
And we were both of us were so, I'm going to use this word, stubborn, that neither one of us was going to cave first.
I'm great.
somebody else-
No, I'm fine,
Yeah.
Mom. No worries. I got
good,
this.
I'm
That's
good.
ridiculous. My daughter was just asking me if we could go fishing, and I was like, "Fishing? Crap, yeah."
Take her out
gotta
to
figure
Bass
that out
Pro.
now.
They-
You guys are punch them out there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, anyway, Tom, we've had many adventures, and I look forward to the future with many more adventures
absolutely.
with you. Love you, one of my brothers,
guys too, yeah.
and glad you were able to come on with us today.
Yeah,
So thank you very, very much.
yeah.
Hey, if you like today, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you do subscribe, hit that little bell right beside it, and you will get notifications every time that we
Ring-a-link.
Ring a link?
I said, "Ring-a-ling."
Oh,
I was
ring-a-ling.
making a bell noise.
I thought you said ring a link.
Okay, we killed the flow. Thanks for joining us.
What a buzz.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. Bye. Take care.